Hello guys and welcome to a brand new video. Today I'm here with Kowloon Generic Romance episode number 9 and 10 reaction. Two episode reaction. I missed the previous episode. So yeah, this is why two episodes. Today I'm going to react to both 9 and 10 and talk about both of them, at the end of both the reactions. So I'll react to both of them, one after the other, and then I'll talk about both of the episodes as a whole. So yeah, let's begin. First, I'm reacting to obviously episode number 9, and yeah, let us get started. Oh, in the previous episode, a few other important things were kind of shown, which was number one, Zhao He apparently is a male on the outside of Kowloon, so that's another mystery that's going on. Like I had a few theories, but I'm not sure whether they're correct or not. But let's wait and see. And then we also had Yao Mei going outside to check whether Kowloon exists or not, and all she got was proof that Kowloon doesn't exist. And she talks later on in an internet cafe with that guy. I forgot his name. The white-haired guy. And he tells her, and from him a lot of information she gets, and she realizes apparently Kowloon is kind of stuck because all that she saw in Kowloon is midsummer. So there's like some kind of a partial time loop going on, not a time loop, but like the time is like repeating itself, which we kind of get to see later on in Reiko's phone, where the date was like July 1st or something like that. So it's like a few, like, like a certain season is on repeat, which is midsummer. And that's why, like it's always midsummer over there. So that's an interesting point. Anyways, yeah, let's see what happens today. Let us begin. I'll be putting the subtitles and the timer here. Sync it to whichever is your preference, and let's get started. Alright, so this is episode 9 number reaction. Here's the countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, passed again. Alright. What? Hmm. Hmm. Damn. Hmm. Oh. Oh. Hmm. Damn. Yeah, she said. Hmm. Okay. Oh my god. Wait, that's non-alcohol. Oh, bruh. Wow. Hmm. All right. So in the yeah, in the oh, yeah. Okay, what did they have to talk about? Right, here we go. Right. Okay. Well, oh, because it's right. Yeah. Also, that's why Gwen didn't drink. Yeah. That's why he gets pizza from the outside and food. Why? Yeah, without the straw directly. Right. The midsummer. Yeah. Interesting. Gwen also doesn't realize that. That's a bit. Wait, did she forget? That's why. So that's why nobody realizes, even though it's such a weird thing, right? If she's outside, she could probably. Okay, wait a minute. What are you talking about? Well, I don't know what you're saying. Right. So when you go inside Kowloon, right? That's why nobody realizes. But then Gwen doesn't eat, right? Oh Lord. Nah, but Gwen should realize, right? Taking interest in. Hmm. Wow. Damn. What? Why are you? None of your business, bro. That guy who's talking about. I'm not talking about Gwen. Yeah, sidestepping away. Ugh. Yeah. Hmm. Yep. Right. So this is interesting. All right, that's a good. Yeah, like I guess like I said the same thing about Kudo because she's like preoccupied with his past of Kujiareko dying. So it's the same with other people as well. Hmm. Wow, that, I guess that snapped him out of the. Heh. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Zhao He. Just look at him. He looks exactly like. Oh yeah, this is another thing. We saw this in the previous episode. He likes like beautiful dress and stuff. Mhm. Just like how Zhao He. There you go. There you go. That's literally what she wears, right? I think. Mm. Mm. Yeah, she just short circuited. Right. Mm. Well, I still think he's like the main person behind this whole resonance with. Mm. Yep, they're getting drawn in by Kowloon, just like everyone else. Okay, so he knows. Hmm. Oh wow. I gave her him frills. Oh, the bouquet, like that, grow one by one in this Kowloon. Interesting. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Yeah. Right. This has been replica. Yeah. Bring back his son. Yeah, but the personality, that is also true. You cannot bring them outside. No, they get overwritten. But if you're dead, that won't happen. That's why Reiko can live here properly without any. What? Talk during the. Hmm. But that still hasn't been proven, right? Right. I don't think he cares. There you go. Hmm. Future illusion. Damn. Yeah. What was that? Hmm. Hmm. Oh, it's because the French toast, she used to use it. Yeah. Oh boy. Literally what she. Yeah, he realized that he's just again living in the past, just repeating the same. Ah, oh, what's that? Oh, it's the yeah. What the hell was that? There was some vision? Yeah, what's going on? I don't know how to call my oh, that was a listening device. I see. Snakeberry. Oh, it's from the piercing. Yeah. Hebi Ichigo. Yeah, I see what's happening. Because I guess because he thinks that, but then no, his main thing is like so that Nuki doesn't get drawn into this whole thing. But then does he think that Reiko is okay? You know what? I feel like I realize what's. I think he realizes that Kudo is because he said this before that he realizes that Kudo is um the main person or again I don't know, like a lot of things are happening because of him because he's the original person over there, the real Kudo, and a lot of things are like happening that is surrounding him, and one of the biggest players in Kudo's vicinity is the generic Kujirai Reiko. So a lot of these things happening here are originating from Kudo and Kujirai Reiko. So maybe that's why he's like thinking maybe taking out Kujirai Reiko, the generic version of her, is going to bring things to normal, and he'll be able to bring Miyuki out of this whole because Miyuki is also getting drawn to Kulon. You can see that, with everything that's going on, with that place, the entertainment is that place. I'm guessing it has some connection to his mother. So okay, all right. Now I'm gonna go and react to the next episode, and then I'm gonna talk about both episode uh, at the end. Okay, so episode number 10 reaction. Let's begin. I'll be putting the subtitles and the timer here. Sync it to whichever is a preference, and let's begin. Okay, here's the countdown. Three, two, one, go. Okay, passed again. Hmm. Running into burning. Hmm. Ding ding. Hmm. Damn. Yeah, because she came here, and this place is a bit, yeah, it's dangerous. Hmm. Mm. Mm. Nah, but he was. I was gonna say he thinks in a different way, and that's why he can say that because he. Yeah, yeah, it is. I see. So okay, I realize why he looks like that in Kowloon. Yeah, that's why. And he used to cross dress. Hmm. Oh yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that. Why? Oh wow. Yeah, true. He's went there, but the generic didn't. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, the frill. Oh, oh no, oh no. Oh, so this happens when you're very close to. Hmm. Right. Yeah. Oh my God. What? Oh, the glasses. Oh yeah, the yeah because I guess is it because of the 3 year time lag? But why would a glass have? I don't know. I don't think she's going to see anything. She's just going to. I think it's only for Reiko. Okay. Oh my God. Right. So she's seeing the past. The glass is living in the past. So oh my God. So I think in the glasses, it's also going chronologically as how for exactly he's seeing the past of Reiko in a chronological order. Yeah. Oh, it's fragmented, so it's not chronologically. Oh, okay. Never mind. Yeah. No, it's a glasses. You won't get no. Okay, let's see what it's showing now. Oh, the. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. Yeah. No, yeah, Kudo goes there. He said that. Yeah, you guys are gonna go there? Okay. She has a frying pan? Oh boy. Hmm. Possible. Yeah, she was taking out one of the. Hmm. Is it for you or is it for Kudo? Yeah, that's also a good point. She needs to realize what's going on and go to the bottom of this mystery. Yeah, you are actually. I think you need to go back to Hong Kong to remember again. Oh boy. Yeah. Oh god, someone's here. Behind you guys. Oh, it's in front. Oh, okay. Frying pan. Hmm. Oh, is this the one? Yeah. What's that? 403 forbidden. Isn't it usually 404? Yeah, yeah, at this point it's right. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, you can kind of realize that. That's why he acted so hostile at first with this Reiko. But this Reiko's different. He's okay with this Reiko. She's hiding something. Oh, scent of death. Damn. Yeah, overdose, right? Yeah, that's why. Like I said, but then he realized this Reiko's very different. Oh, yeah, you're always everywhere. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, he should know him, right? Does he know him? Yeah, he was going to say that I didn't I see you back there? Oh my god. Oh. Hmm. Oh, on her birthday. Oh, not birthday, sorry, anniversary of death. Oh, he was waiting. Yep, there you go. Oh, he's gonna start throwing up again. Yep. What? Hmm. Yeah, I forgot what the code means. 403 means what? No permission to access. Right. Hmm. Hmm. Wait, that's different. 202 accepted. Accepted but it's processed. Oh. Wait. It's the different areas in this place. Oh. And 42 and one was 202. Yeah. The one that was 202 was. Oh, is this the place? Yeah. Oh, they're not gonna show us. It's gonna. Don't look for it anymore. What? Oh my god. Wait, this is. No. This is from that guy. It. I forgot his name. He gave it to her. So is this gonna bring her memories back? Yeah. Okay, there you go. Huh. Right. Okay. So quite a few things are going on now. Again, I'm kind of confused. Like it seemed like stuff were kind of getting to, coming together and making sense. But then these two episodes brought in a few new factors to think about. First and foremost is the fact that this Kowloon is apparently 3 years like before. So a lot of the things that are happening here are kind of being replicated from what happened 3 years before. So that is why Zhao He here is a girl who is apparently that is what he used to cross dress as when 3 years ago he used to stay here, right? He had a lot of dress with him. We saw that. So that is why. Yeah. Now the bigger mystery here is why is Zhao He not the generic Zhao He not disappearing? I think there's a possibility that there's a theory that I have in my head. Maybe it's because, there's some people who want to get away from their past and who want to change as a person, and there's some people who has accepted their past and who still accepts their past and he doesn't want to get away from it. That person has embraced their past. Maybe it's different for those different type of people. For example, Zhao He has accepted he knows what he likes and he's not trying to run away from it or do any of that sort of thing. He accepts his past. He knows who he is. He knows that he loves like pretty dresses. He knows that he loves cross dressing, and that is literally why he's doing this part-time job and everything, like stuff like that. So he knows himself and he accepts his past self. Maybe that is why the Xiaohe, the female Xiaohe is here, even though the original Xiaohe also is here, because he accepts that past. Maybe that's why. Now, then you have to think about Gwen, for example. What about Gwen then? Does Gwen not accept his past self, who was here 3 years ago as a, what was he, like a waiter or like a bartender or something? Not bartender, yeah, bartender, right? The generic Gwen that disappeared. The generic Gwen disappeared. Maybe it is because the current Gwen has changed his point of view from the past himself. That is why the present Gwen overrides the past one. Because just think about this. For example, if your past self 3 years ago, what you were, you had a different set of like thoughts, a different set of values and everything. 3 years later, it's changed a lot. You've changed a lot of things. You have this. You have like have a lot of new outlook on life, and there's a lot of things that maybe in your past that you accepted you do not accept now, stuff like that. Maybe those are the peoples whose generic selves, which are actually people from their past or them themselves from the past, gets overwritten by the new one, because the new one is the recent one, so they overwrite. Unlike maybe Xiaohe, who how his outlook on life was 3 years ago, maybe it's the same now as well. That's why it's not he's not overriding the generic Xiaohe. Maybe that's what's happening. I don't know. This is just something that I'm thinking, because that would kind of answer the question as to why Xiaohe is not disappearing. The generic Xiaohe is not disappearing. So I'm not sure. This is a possible, like a possible explanation for it. Or maybe it's something else completely. Who knows? Now, there's a few other things that we got to see today. The glasses, the eyeglasses. What is going on with that? It's showing things from the past. So you're looking at through the glasses, and you're seeing Kujirai B's point of view of a lot of different things. Then we have the talismans. There's a lot of talismans that are like 202. There's one 202, one I think 9 or something like 404, and like a few of them 403. So 404 is, wait a minute, just a minute, let me check. How many was 404? Okay, just a minute. Like Reiko counts them at the end, right? Where is that part? Okay, here it is. So field away 30, 20 were blank. Oh no, there's no 404, never mind. 9 were 403 and 1 was 202. 202, if you remember, was the one which she peels away literally from outside the place where there is work. So 202 means access granted, right? Something like that. Oh no, accepted. So accepted, request has been accepted, but processing has not been completed. While we have 403, which is forbidden access. Now, I think what's going on here is that, I don't know what it is, but because this Kowloon is like something that has been generated from something, it doesn't exist. The part that is 202, it's something that, I don't know, it's like maybe it has been accepted and it like exists now or something. I don't know, like I have no idea, man. Like really, I have no idea. I don't understand. I can kind of vaguely understand, and maybe in my head I'm thinking there's a vague understanding that I can, it's like a vague thought that I can think of, and that makes me understand this whole error code things. But I'm not completely sure, because this is what I think. You see, there's different places where these talismans are. I think each of the places have like a certain type of a property. Like, for example, by property I mean like certain type of characteristics. For example, the places where it's 403, like since it's forbidden, maybe that place has some sort of a characteristic than a few other places where the talismans have nothing on them. And then there's another one, the singular one, which is 202, which has a different set of properties and characteristics. I don't know exactly what it is, but I feel like it's something like that that is going on here. Again, I have no idea what it means though, but it's like, like a lot of these things in this world, you can kind of compare them to computer programs. For example, the whole overwriting thing, like generic being overwritten by the real one, that thing. So this is also like a computer term, like your 403, 404, 202. These are like, error codes and stuff. So that is why, again, we're getting like some computer, like some, like terminology here. So maybe it's something like that, like where we can relate with certain computers, like things like in that we see in the computer, and like these error codes and stuff, and we can kind of correlate with that here. That's why I'm saying maybe a few of the places here where the talismans were there, few of them are forbidden access, few of them are, oh yeah, maybe because they kind of mentioned that a few of the places where which the previous Kowloon had, now it's like blocked off. So maybe that's why 403 for them. I don't know. Or maybe it is something like, I guess, but we need more clues for that. You know what? Is there any talisman outside Kujirai's room? If there is, I think she needs to go there and peel that and see what's inside behind that. Because you know what I think? There's another thought that is coming to my head. I think this is kind of like think about it in like video game terms. In a video game, like an open world video game, like let's just take GTA for example. There's a lot of buildings you can actually get inside. Like for example, like a few of the buildings of the main characters, you can actually get inside them. And then there's like plenty of buildings which are just there, and you cannot really get inside them. There's no way to enter inside of it. Maybe it's something like that here that's going on. That's why I'm saying, if there is any talisman outside Reiko's room, I think she needs to peel it and see what's underneath it. If it's 202, then a lot of things would make sense, because the 202 that she found was only in front of their office place. The office, they can get inside the office and do their things, right? It has an actual structure. Maybe the 403 ones were places where there's no way she can enter, like a video game world where inside of the has not been generated, so you cannot get in. I think we need more clues here. We need to find more talismans like this and see what's there underneath it. And obviously then we have like the biggest mystery, which is the final talisman that she peeled off, and it was written like something like, stop looking for it or something, don't look for it anymore. Yeah, again, I have no idea what the hell that means. Right, so that's another thing that we got to see today. Another thing we saw today is the memories of people who are inside Kowloon kind of gets adjusted in such a way that they don't realize something is wrong. That happens especially if you eat stuff and drink stuff from this Kowloon. You can see where Yao Mei was ready to talk about that whole midsummer thing, and then she drank the cola or whatever that was, and her brain short circuited, and she was like, oh, what was I talking about? I don't know, like, I don't understand. She completely forgot about that. And that is why that guy outside, I forgot his name, he gave her candy, which candy, after she ate at the end, she remembers everything now. So that's interesting. Now, that is why. But here's my question: shouldn't Gwen realize the whole midsummer, repeating that is going on here, the season that is repeating? Shouldn't Gwen realize that as well? Gwen doesn't eat anything from this place. Why does he not realize that? That's my question. Shouldn't it feel odd, like whenever you're coming here, it's freaking summer? Like whenever you're coming here, it's just summer. Shouldn't Gwen realize that? Because Gwen comes here, goes outside, goes back to Hong Kong, comes back here. He is like traveling back and forth, right? So then I don't understand that part. Why does Gwen not realize that? Why does it have to be Yao Mei who needs to realize that? Because right. I have no idea why Gwen doesn't realize that. Gwen doesn't even eat food from here, so it's interesting. It's a mystery why he doesn't realize that. Anyways, I maybe we'll get our answers later. Right. Then a few other things that happened here. For example, um, uh, Zhao, for example, was given an opportunity to work for that guy, and he said that, oh, like, I'll give you everything. I'll give you like your whatever dress you want. I'll give you more money. You're doing this for the money, right? Because you want to buy more dress and dress up. I'll give you all of that. You have to kill the um, the current Kujirai B. But the reason why he's saying that, I think it's because he wants Miyuki to come out of all of this. I don't know, because like he said this before, that he's trying to help Miyuki to not getting so that he doesn't get dragged into this whole thing, because Miyuki is getting dragged inside of this. You can see Miyuki is probably it's because of something in his past that he, like, it's related to his mother. It's definitely related to his mother, because he sends, like, he was sending those flowers to those girls in the entertainment district. I'm guessing that the place has some kind of connection with his mother. So that part. And right, so that is why Miyuki is also getting dragged into Kowloon. Same with Gwen as well, because Gwen is connected to Miyuki, and that is why, because Miyuki is getting like swept into this Kowloon, like Gwen is also kind of following suit. So it's like all this is happening. You know what's funny? I feel like Zhao is also getting swept in this Kowloon. Like, yeah, definitely. Because the thing is, he was given an opportunity to take out Kujai Reiko, and he still hasn't given him the answer, I guess. But the fact that he in his head he was like, oh no, but these people have actual lives. Like, they if you are in this place, you won't be able to distinguish from what is reality and what is not. So he was skeptical when he was told to take out Kujirai Reiko, because she literally is like an actual flesh and blood human being. So yeah, and I think also because of Yaomei, Yaomei like kind of gave him the freely things and everything. Yeah, he is also kind of getting swept into this Kowloon, and I don't know. I get the feeling that very soon he won't be, like he will have like an emotional connection to this place. A lot of the people who are kind of still like a third party here are people who has no emotional connection to Kowloon in the same way a lot of the people in the main cast has. For example, what was his name? You know what? I need to find his name. What's his name? The white-haired guy. His name is. Let me check. Oh, what the hell? Where? I cannot find him. Where is he? Yulong. Okay, yeah, Yulong. So the only person I guess you could say who still doesn't have like a proper connection to Kowloon in that sense, and who are kind of like the third party, are Yulong and Hebinma's father. Now here's the thing. There was a certain section in today's episode where Zhao He said something like that to Yulong. He was like, "Oh, it's because you cannot even see Kowloon. That's why you are saying stuff like this," which kind of pissed him off. You can see that he kind of got pissed at that word, but then he kind of settled himself down again. But yeah, that pissed him off a little bit, because it is true, he's the only one here kind of who cannot see Kowloon. So even if he wants to help Miyuki, he cannot in that sense, because he cannot see what Miyuki is seeing. Yeah, so one thing is pretty obvious. It is something like like Kowloon. The people who can see Kowloon are people who, like I was saying, who maybe yeah, who is still kind of connected to their past and cannot Like, there's something in their past that they cannot get away from. Miyuki's a big example. Kudo's a big example. Miyuki, because Miyuki's past, his mother, like all those things are kind of dragging him here. Like it's like a chain shackling him. Kudo, because obviously Kujireiko's death, he regrets that, and that is why I said Kudo is the main blueprint here of this generic Kowloon, because like Generator is probably like resonating with Kudo, and a lot of these places that have been replicated are based on Kudo's memories. I said this very at the very beginning, and I still think that is true. But I didn't think that maybe the other people who can see Kowloon are also in the same way that Kudo is, like connected to their past and cannot get away from it. Miyuki is a big example we saw today. Then you can kind of say Gwen as well, because Gwen is connected to Miyuki, and Gwen is also a lot of things that he was thinking at the end. You saw, but he was thinking like, oh, maybe these like things that I did, maybe if I did something different, maybe where was that part where he says that a lot of the results would have been different. Where was that section? Okay, anyways, I cannot find it. But yeah, like Gwen is also probably, because of Miyuki, he's like, kind of getting swept into this. Who else? Zhao He. Yeah, but Zhao He's situation is, like I said, Zhao He's generic doesn't disappear here, which is interesting because. Right. Like I said, I don't know. It's in my head. I'm thinking maybe the reason why his generic doesn't disappear is because he accepts his past. That's why maybe. Like he knows what his past is and he accepts it. That's why maybe. I don't know. This maybe something else. Who knows? But anyways, so yeah, that's what's happening here currently. Like Okay, now to talk about the main thing of today of these two episodes, Kudo and Kujirai. So Kudo and Kujirai, we get to see a few things about Kujirai here. For example, a lot of vision from her past. For example, that vision where she goes to the forbidden dish, that place where Kudo told her to not go, and some weird thing. Okay, so this part, you know what? Let me read this section. So here it is. In the past, where they were playing mahjong, Kudo gets to know from the other guys. Here we go. Summer skipped town up north by Yushan Tower, huh? That's a dangerous neighborhood even in Kowloon. Gambling, prostitution, drugs. If you don't want to get pulled into trouble, you stay out of there. I got pulled in at the very last minute. I'm not excited to go and apologize to the landlord. And this is where we see already Kujirai went and apologized to the landlord. Like she was apologizing. Okay, and the landlord was like, oh no, I bet they did it in the commotion of the demolition. Yeah, but they skipped, like, yeah, so she gives her the gift. Okay, so a few interesting thing happens here. For example, okay, wait a minute. Okay, she talks about gambling and says like, I've heard that you never lose. Do you think you'll win in the game of a... Yeah, this part is very, I don't know, it's still so cryptic, this whole section. Like a lot of things doesn't make sense. Reiko says, I suppose we'll find out. Now she leaves. Kudo comes in and he's like, oh, don't come here from next point onwards, I'll take care of this place. Right, and then she looks at the side. Was she looking at the talisman? Wait a minute. No, was she? I don't know. But so I don't understand this section. Like, what the hell happened here? Okay, I feel like that section has some kind, still something that I'm not getting. Maybe some kind of a mystery. Yeah. Anyways, right. So yeah, so that section. Then we have the whole section with Kudo kind of going to Kujirai's place, and then the whole French toast thing, which he remembered. He tells he brought like the sugar sticks, and Kujirai Reiko was like, oh, let me make something, and he was like, oh, use the sugar to make French toast. And then I feel like Kudo realized that he is again kind of pushing Kujirai Reiko B's like personality into this Reiko, so he probably felt bad about it himself. That's why he just left. And while Kujirai is like, oh, like like what the hell was that? Later on, when Gwen tells Reiko that, oh, like just like how you are feeling confused and you are feeling like yeah, Kudo is also probably feeling a lot hurt as well, because can you imagine a person who is literally looks the same, sounds the same as a person before who he loved. That person dies and another person takes her place, but this person is completely different than the other person. So, something like that. Right. And okay, you know what? Like, okay, here's the thing. There's another thing I realized here. How again we in today's episode again we got the whole section with the Reiko saying that I'll become my absolute self. I think I said this in one of the previous episodes before. I'm going to say this again. I feel like one of the reasons why the like generic here, like the generics here like are like the absolute selves of the people. Here, for example, I think this Reiko is supposed to be the absolute self of Kujirai Reiko B. I still think that, because there's so many things in this Reiko that you can see that are very different from Kujirai Reiko B, but they're actually for the better, in my opinion, because I don't know, I just, unless and until we get a better understanding of Kujirai Reiko B, I cannot really say anything, because like we can see here, Kujirai Reiko B had a lot of things that are kind of just shrouded in mystery. We don't know about a lot of things about her. So I don't know, like the way Kujirai Reiko B lived her life also kind of makes me think that she was living her life kind of holding herself back. So so there's a lot of things that she said which was a bit odd. For example, she talks about how she doesn't read like the sequels or something like that. She said, if you remember, how she always is just doesn't go other places, and she's like stays here because this is the only place for her, like like in she doesn't want to experience new things in case she gets disappointed. Her outlook on life was very, you could say, tunneled, and very like, I don't know, it was in such a way, it's as if she was like holding herself back from a lot of things. And that's why I said I'm surprised at the fact that someone like this got ready to get engaged to Kudo, because her outlook on life doesn't make me think she's the type of person who wants to get married. So, like, these things are like making. However, this Reiko seems so much more freer, so much more like, yeah, she doesn't have any memories. She there's a lot of things that is different about her here. Yeah, but she feels a lot more complete than the Kujirai Reiko B. I still feel that. And that is why, how they talk about being their absolute selves. I think this Kujirai Reiko is supposed to be the absolute self of Kujirai Reiko B. So, something like that. I don't know. This is just something that I feel. Now, if you think about it like that, maybe you can say for Zhao the time when she used to cross dress, that Zhao, the female Zhao, that maybe is his absolute self. And that's like that's why he's here. I'm not sure about Gwen though, because Gwen was like a bartender, I guess. So yeah, I don't have any answers for them. But at least I think for Kujirai Reiko, this Kujirai Reiko is supposed to be the best version of Kujirai Reiko. I still think, and I think that they don't understand that. Reiko herself doesn't understand that. Kudo also doesn't understand. Kudo's just stuck to his past, obviously. But I feel like this Reiko is supposed to be the best version of Kujirai Reiko. You know what? Let's wait and see, because I feel like that's what's going to. We'll get to know that later. We'll realize that little by little, because this Reiko seems so much more complete and different than the other Reiko. Who knows? Maybe it's because we see this Reiko all the time. That's why maybe I'm being a little bit biased here. But the other Reiko, there's a lot of things in her, like what we're seeing of her, which seems as if she's trying to hold herself back. This Reiko doesn't, however. So in that sense, you can say this Reiko is more free, making her more complete. Right. Anyways, just something that I thought. Either way, like I went on a tangent. So Kudo and Reiko's whole relationship here, you can see Kudo kind of probably felt bad for pushing that whole thing into Reiko again, and that's why he left there. And now Reiko's thinking maybe he's hurting Kudo, and that's why later on she tells him that, oh, like maybe we should go back to being colleagues. But then she also says like, oh, don't worry, I'm not going to hurt you, and which kind of, I guess, kind of made Kudo a little bit, like he was a bit surprised. You could see that. Right. So yeah, and I feel like obviously by what she meant by I'm not going to hurt you is probably something regarding, I guess, Kujirai taking her own life, because if you think about it, yeah, by taking her own life, we still don't know if that was actually her taking her own life or if that was something else going on. Maybe it was someone killing her, but I don't know how you can kill someone by, like, because she died with overdose. So I don't know, but still, at least for now, we are thinking that that is something that happened, and Kujirai took her own life. Um, Maybe, like, what Kujirai A said here was, "I'm not going to hurt you." So in a way, I guess you could probably say that Kujirai was also saying that I'm not going to do something that Kujirai Reiko B did and hurt you in the process, like taking my own life or something like that. So yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of things. I feel like I felt like we are coming to like some kind of sort of conclusion, but then there's so many new things that was revealed in these two episodes that I don't know. I'm against kind of stuck now. I'm like thinking, what is going on here? Like, yeah, there's a lot of things that I understand better. I feel like, but I'm still holding, to the theory in my head, to the speculation that a lot of these things are happening because of Kudo. I still think that. I still think Kudo is like the main person who is resonating with Genetera, and that's why this whole generic Kowloon exists. I still think that. But then there's a few other things that are kind of, I don't know, making me question a lot of other things. For example, the revelation that everything here is happening like 3 years, like a lot of the things here that we're seeing, a lot of the generics that we're seeing here are from 3 years ago, which would again kind of like coincide with my theory with Kudo being the person involved with this, because if you think about it, if Kudo is the one who is the blueprint for all these generic Terra, maybe Kudo, if it's Kudo's memories and Kudo being resonating with generic Terra that is producing this generic Kowloon, if that's what's happening, then it would make sense why all the generics here are 3 years ago. 3 years, like, why are they the 3 years earlier version? Because Kudo used to live here with them, so he remembers them, and that's how Kowloon is replicating them here. Like Kudo was in contact with Xiaohe, but probably Kudo knew Xiaohe as his little girl. He had no idea maybe that Xiaohe is actually a man who is cross-dressing. So that's why the Xiaohe that has been replicated here as generic looks like Xiaohe exactly 3 years ago when he was cross-dressing. Maybe that's what's that's what's going on. So it kind of still coincides with my theory over there. But I don't know. There was another theory that I was thinking. Like I said, I was saying maybe the absolute selves are the ones that are over here. But that theory kind of falls through here, because if it is the absolute selves that are over here, then what about Gwen? You know, it doesn't coincide properly. The Gwen that we saw here is as a generic was probably the Gwen 3 years ago in the bar, because if you remember, like Kudo told the story of them getting engaged in the bar, so Gwen was the bartender over there. So yeah, so my whole absolute self theory kind of falls through here. Maybe not. So yeah, it is something in like all the people here, all the generic here at least, are kind of repeating their lives which they did 3 years ago. And because this whole generic, like this generic Kowloon in itself is like stuck in the past, the people are also stuck in the past here. The generics, at least, not people, sorry, the generics are also stuck in the past here. The midsummer is like repeating itself, if you remember. So yeah. Okay, so there you go. But then, like I said, I still don't understand then why Xiaohei's generics doesn't disappear. Is it because he accepts this generic version of her? That's why, maybe? I don't know. No idea. Anyways, so that's what happened, and yeah, so that was basically these 2 episodes. Was there anything else important to discuss here? Let me see. No, that's it. So in the end, as we saw, like Yame ate the candy and she suddenly remembers everything. So I guess we'll get to know later. Hopefully she doesn't eat something from Kowloon again. If she eats something from Kowloon again, she's probably going to forget. So right. Okay. Now like I think that was it. There wasn't anything else here in this episode. And then obviously, like, the whole mystery with the talismans are also still. Yeah, that is another new mystery which I have no idea what's going on. What are with those talismans? I guess we'll get our answers later. Anyways, now let me like bring everything together. Let me draw a picture over here. This is how I think everything happened. So Kujirai Reiko lived here, obviously. A lot of people also lived here, like Miyuki lived here, where like they were, like they lived here. They were the original residents of Kowloon. Same with Gwen. Same with Xiaohei. Yulong probably not. I don't think he was. Was he here? I don't know. Yeah. So that's what happened. Hebinuma, his son died. So Hebinuma adopted Miyuki, and that's what happened. Now, after that, Kudo comes here, gets transferred here, meets Kujirai Reiko, and they connect. Like Kujirai Reiko tells him about, like makes a big impression on him, talks about Kowloon all the time, talks about nostalgia, all these things, if you remember. And, like Kudo starts liking her. Then, like we get to know that this place will be destroyed, like this place will be demolished, and Kujirai Reiko dies after that. Kudo obviously is very shocked. He cannot let go of Kujirai Reiko. He somehow resonates with Genetera. So even after destruction, Genetera resonating with Kudo makes a generic version of Kowloon, which is stuck 3 years in the past in this day, like repeating the seasons. And the generic versions of the people living here are also stuck in the past. So Gwen is stuck as a bartender, which was what Kudo and Reiko knew him as a bartender. Xiaohei is a girl here, because that's how Kudo knew him. He didn't. I don't know if he knows that Xiaohei is actually a man, but this is how he saw him, because at that point of time he was cross dressing, and he wore a lot of like beautiful dresses. Yame doesn't exist because Yame came in later, so obviously there's no generic version of Yame. Who else? Hebinuma also, I don't think Kudo had any idea about who Hebinuma is. So Hebinuma also doesn't have a, not Hebinuma, sorry, Miyuki. Miyuki doesn't have a generic version here as well. Only people that Kudo knew personally, and maybe they have a generic version over here. Now, because of that, Kujirai Reiko's generic version also came here. you know, started existing, which is somehow this Kujirai Reiko is different. Now I don't have any explanations for this. Why is she different? Why is she not exactly like the 3 years ago, like Kujirai Reiko B? I have no explanation for that. This Kujirai Reiko is the only exception. She feels like like I said, like a more complete version of the Kujirai Reiko B. A lot of the things that Kujirai Reiko B had, a lot of the troubles or problems that I feel like this Kujirai Reiko B has been able to overcome it. She's more freer, she's more of a more complete version of Kujirai Reiko B. I don't know why. I have no idea. If things were going according to what I was thinking, my speculations, Kujirai Reiko B should also this Kujirai Reiko A should also have personality exactly as Kujirai Reiko B, right? Because every other person is like 3 years ago how they were. So what's going on with that? I have no idea. So this is the only thing that I cannot explain why. But yeah. Then what else? Yeah, and that's what's going on over here. That's what's happening. This is Kudo resonating with Genetera, and according to his memories, his past, and what with the Kowloon that he wants to go back to, this Kowloon has been generated. And all the people who wants to go back to the previous Kowloon, they resonate with this Kowloon, and that's why they can see this Kowloon. For example, Miyuki can see this Kowloon because he wants to go back to the past where, with his mother and everything. He has some sort of shackles that are shackling him to the past. Same with Gwen as well. He can see this place. So yeah. Now as for Yaomei, I feel like the reason why she was able to resonate with this Kowloon is because maybe it has something to do with how she was trying to run away from her. Yeah, she also had like troubles with who she is and her past, so maybe that's why she resonated with this Kowloon, even though she never lived in this Kowloon before. Anyways, it's a very, I feel like it's a whole speculation and theory filled with holes and a lot of like a plot holes, I feel like. But I wouldn't be surprised if, like I said, Kudo it ends in the end it gets revealed that Kudo is one of the biggest reasons why this happened. I think that is why it was going to happen, because Kudo is definitely, I feel like, the biggest reason why this generic Kowloon exists. Anyways, let's wait and see what happens. Either way, that was my reactions to 2 episodes, episode number 9 and 10 of Kowloon Generic Romance. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to press the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, or you haven't subscribed, comment down below. Anything you want to say, anything you want to let me know, I'll check them out. That is it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next week with another episode of Kowloon Generic Romance. Until then, goodbye and have a nice day.